What I find to be interesting in communicating about my experience during my NDE is how some people feel that my praying to Archangel Michael needs to expand to praying to Jesus or God or the Holy Spirit. And respectfully, I say, that's great. I mean, I pray to them as well. Don't don't assume that because I'm mentioning one that I'm not praying to the others. I pray to all of heaven because I've met them. And there is not one of them who didn't leave a mark on my soul. And they have all helped change me and how I view my life and how I view our world because of all of them. And what I like to describe it as being is having received the wisdom of love from the ones who are pure love. And that's how I describe it. Yesterday, I was working on my book that I'm almost done with, and I keep saying this, I'm almost done with it. And each time I'm like, oh yes, I got this, I got this. I get really excited. And then oh yeah, I've got to do this. It's got to expand right here in order for this to link over here properly because it's not that it's so complex because I'm not a scientist and I'm not religious. I'm an ex-Catholic, ex-atheist, but there are points that I'm making from research that I've done that align with my near-death experience. And in order to make the points so that everyone can hear them, including the Ricky Gervais of the world, who I absolutely think is hysterical, he's an atheist. So I want to be able to talk to an atheist as well. Okay. So that's why there's research in this. But one of the things that I thought was interesting yesterday, I described what heaven is like. So coming off of Earth, I have a childhood filled with you should do this. You should not be this because they will think. The Catholic Church, you need to do this. You need to behave this way. You need to be. And so I started thinking about this in how I would like to articulate the message. It's a big message, but one of the things that I touched upon yesterday was how being yourself for some people, and I know many of us can identify with this, being yourself has not always been okay for whatever the reason. And that's really quite a tragedy in our world because it's a world thing. It's not just a me thing, it's not just a you thing, it's an us thing. We are all dealing with how do we show up where people will accept us. And that's what we are all seeking is the acceptance of one another in order to fit into this world and be able to thrive and move forward uh, effortlessly. But in order to do that on Earth, you have to conform. And that's one of the things that I was writing about yesterday was when I walked through the clouds in heaven, I didn't know where I was. Okay. All I know is I saw Jesus standing over there waiting for me. He was the only one there. And I recognized him and I said to him, oh my God, you really do exist. To which he smiled and opened his arms, inviting me to come and give him a hug. So I did. And and I thought, wow, okay, this feels so nice. This feels so unusual because I'd never felt anything like that before. And then when he took me to meet my other guides and I had to watch my life review, I knew that it was serious and I knew that they all loved me as they didn't have any expectations of me to be any differently than who I am. And at that time of my life, which is now 19 years ago, I didn't I didn't know who I was at all. I thought, okay, I've labeled myself a wife, a mother, and that's it. I was fine with that. I was absolutely fine with that. But now I label myself as an advocate for love. Yes, well now I'm an ex-wife, but I'm still a mother and I'm still a friend and I'm still loving and I still want for everyone love to be understood and to be known. So after my life review, then I had to go into Archangel Michael's capsule and he spoke Psalm 91 over me, over my soul. But after that, when I was taken to temple, that took me to a whole new level of what this feeling is of love that I am trying to describe and the difference between heaven and earth. I'm telling you, my foot, I will never forget this. When it was my turn to follow my other guides in as Jesus was holding open the door, my foot touched the floor of the inside of the temple. And it was just, I was consumed with this incredible warmth and love and understanding. There was no reason to feel, there was no reason to feel anything other than love. That's all they had for me. Yet in my mind, I thought I was in the wrong place. I'm thinking, okay, I've never felt anything like this. I can't be worthy of this. I'm walking in an atheist. I'm an ex-Catholic. Oh, this is I don't know what's happening. I literally felt these things. I felt insecure as I was in temple. I felt unworthy of the energy that was around me. I felt I hadn't qualified because I didn't show up in life under one of the ascended masters like Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, Kali, Kuan Yin, Buddha was there, Sitting Bull, White Eagle. I didn't follow any of them. Um, and I thought, how is it that I fit in here? How do I fit in? I don't understand how I'm going to fit in. But I understand now that, and the reason I'm sharing this is that I I want you to know. I don't want it to be a secret for the world of what is heaven like, what will be allowed, who will be allowed in heaven. Heaven is unconditional love. Everyone at God's table loved me equally. They had no expectations of me to be any different than I was capable of being in that moment. They knew what I was dealing with in terms of past lives. I didn't believe in past lives until this experience. I didn't believe in karma. I didn't believe in reincarnation. And God was the one who told me that's all true. That's all real, Megan. You've had a lot of past lives. And I thought, whoa, okay. Um, I felt uncomfortable. I didn't know how to feel as though I belonged in that energy field. And now, so many years later, what I felt when I went back into my body after that near-death experience, and I remember waking up in the hospital room, and there was a nurse in there, and I said, I just saw Jesus. And she said, oh, you're awake? Because I'd been out of it for so long. And I said, yes, I just saw Jesus. And then it was it was profound. But as my story unfolded over the years, and I would have the memories of what was happening in heaven, because you don't come back, well, not for me anyway. There was so much information that it was a build, and oh yeah, and here's this. It's like you're living a life, Okay. That's literally what you're doing in heaven. You are living. It's a way of being, it's a way of living, and it's fantastic. So I would have memories just drop in. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember this song. I know why this song is hitting me like this because Freddie Mercury played it with the rest of the band in heaven. And it was just, it was amazing. So I would jot these things down. But heaven has no boundaries. And I think it's important for everybody to hear this. Heaven has zero boundaries of other than evil. Okay. They're not going to let evil in heaven. That doesn't happen. And there is that will never happen. But in terms of how you show up in life and how you choose to live, how you choose to love, it doesn't even matter if you're an atheist. It doesn't even matter if you're agnostic. It doesn't matter who you pray to. Your belief is that you are honoring the holiest of holy, the source, the creator, the Lord or God. So you could be praying to Buddha. You could be praying to you could be praying to Jesus. You could be praying to Goddess. You could be praying to Melchizedek or Prophet Muhammad. You could be praying to any of these souls, and every one of them is unconditional love. Every single one of them hears your prayers when you say the prayers to them or when you speak with them. They're listening. They're always listening. And I think it's so important to understand that no matter who you pray to in heaven, they all serve love and they all serve God. There's only one God. I've met him, and there is no mistaking it. There is one God. That's it. Okay, I've heard Ricky Gervais, as a matter of fact. I was watching a stand-up comedy thing that he did many years ago, and he was defending his being atheist. And he was in an interview talk with Piers Morgan. And Piers Morgan grew up Roman Catholic like I did. Okay, so I didn't know that. I just learned it last night watching this interview. And so he says, so you're not believing in a God. It was something along these lines. This was the gist of it. I didn't watch the whole interview. And Ricky Gervais is like, no, no. And he says, well, don't you feel like you're mocking God? And Ricky Gervais, his response was, no, I'm not. Because I believe like you believe in one God, and there's like over 2,000 gods that people claim that there are. I didn't know that number, by the way, and I still don't know where he's getting that information from or where he got it from, but I get what he's saying. In other words, so you can't even pick one, okay? Or you choose to be in one lane. I'm telling you, okay, there's so many, like, why bother, right? Or why not believe in them all? So, anyway, I think his point was to just look at how you choose to show up in what your belief system is. And so Ricky Gervais, is saying you can't prove anything. Science proves everything. And until science can prove it, it doesn't exist. And I totally understand that as well. So I'm sitting there going, well, I understand his point. But now I'm on the other side of atheism, and I think, well, there is a God. I've met him. It's one guy. His face is on the Shroud of Turin, and everybody works underneath him. And I was taught this from the moment I sat at his table, and everybody was staring at me smiling. As soon as he started talking, everybody's eyes went boop, looking at God. So there was no doubt in my mind who was in charge. I just didn't know who he was at first. And then I said, oh, fuck, in my head. And I didn't even say it out loud. And the old man stopped talking and said, oh, fuck is right, Megan. And then I realized, oh my God, this is like the Catholic Church when I was 5 years old, 6 years old in catechism. God can hear your thoughts. I never believed it. Well, he does. He hears them all. So that's when I learned who he was. And it was extraordinary. But I think it's important to know that there are no boundaries how God will love us. In other words, whatever religion you are, he loves you. That's how you're choosing to show up in this life. That's what's making you feel good in this life. Okay. As long as you're serving love, that's what he wants us all to do, is serve love. But I will say this, there are no limitations in how a person is to love on this planet. So I say this because if a woman says, I'm not attracted to a man, I only want to be with women, and chooses, because it is in her DNA, okay? It's genetic. And she says, yeah, I'm not attracted to men. So, yeah, I love women. Oh, I'm not allowed in heaven? Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, you're gay? No worries. You'll get into heaven. Oh, you're transgender? All right, no worries. You're getting into heaven. Oh, you're bisexual. I don't even know what they call these things anymore. Like these, I'm talking about things as in compartmentalizing. People feel like they have to compartmentalize everything. This is what I've noticed. I've paid attention to very strongly since my near-death experience 19 years ago, because it makes us feel safe. It makes us feel as though we know something. And really, reality is we don't know anything on this planet. We know 1%. That's it, 1%. And is all of the work that science has done, and they've done a lot, and it has made improvements for humanity. All of that work, yet we still can't figure out why we are so judgmental of one another, why we feel the need to be better than somebody else because we identify in a certain way. That that is not advancement. So getting back to being, part of the LGBTQ community plus whatever the other pluses are, I don't know, but yeah, God loves you. It's fact. There is there is nothing wrong with how a person chooses to love another person of the same sex. And I actually received an email once from someone who heard me talking about Freddie Mercury in heaven. And this was a Catholic. And they said, well, I thought Freddie Mercury would have been in, what do you call it, purgatory. I think it was purgatory. And in other words, indicating it wasn't heaven and not hell. And my question back was, why would you think he would be in purgatory? But I didn't get a response from her, which is okay. There is no purgatory for showing up and being yourself in this life and choosing to love whoever you are attracted to, love that individual, honor yourself, listen to your soul. That is who you are. And there is nothing wrong with it. And God ordered me to say a lot of things. I have no, I have no referencing points in my own life as to, stand up and speak about Prophet Muhammad being only love. That's all I know him as. I only know Prophet Muhammad as being equal to Jesus, because that's what was told to me. I only know that the LGBTQ community is allowed in heaven because that's what I was shown and told. And I only know Archangel Michael as being black because that's how I saw him. And he had some Eastern European accent. He told me it was Yugoslavian. So this is what I know. And why do I feel I can speak with such conviction around this? Because I remember saying as an atheist when I was in my 20s, I said, if there's a God, oh, he is going to have to prove it to me. I will not believe in any, oh, I had this feeling. Oh, there was a white light. Somebody, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's not going to fly with me. So God made very sure to lay my ass up in a hospital bed for 2 months. He made sure that I would never be able to walk away from what I was supposed to face and what I was supposed to learn about myself and life. And life is love. Myself, I am love. I don't need to be the insecure, where am I going to fit in? Where am I not going to fit in? I've already been faced with not fitting in my entire life, because I had my car accident when I was a kid, and then, I was 9 years old. So I have scars on my body. Okay. Well, yeah, getting made fun of, that's a humbling experience, right? That was my first NDE, which was totally different than my third one because I don't remember what happened in heaven. I was in a coma for 8 days in that one. So I'm positive I was in heaven. They just didn't allow me to remember it. But I have to look at myself differently and say, huh, you know what? You're perfect. And everybody else is perfect, just as they are. Literally perfection of love. That's what we are. And that is powerful. We don't need to look to another for their approval of who we are already. We are perfection. All we have to do is act like it and remember that we actually are. We are this perfect energy. And what we do with this energy is up to us. How we love is our choice. So, getting back to the difference between heaven and earth, earth is compartmentalized, and how humanity feels we need to show up this way, in this regard, in this regard. I'm not talking about being lawless. In other words, rules should not be applied in order for everybody to stay in context of safety and um, the well-being for everyone. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the compartments of feeling, well, using the LGBTQ community, for example, that's not a compartment. Religion, okay, that's a compartment because that's a choice on how an individual chooses to believe and what the restrictions are in that context of the religion. Now, I'm not knocking religion. I'm just saying it's a compartment because there are boundaries in it. What is beneficial in some of the context of religion, and I'm talking about the legitimate religions, okay? And there are only seven that I've been told. Um, Three of them are Catholicism, Judaism, and Islam, believe it or not. Uh, there is no war just because you are a Muslim. This doesn't make you some evil individual. Just because you're a Jew doesn't make you an evil individual. Just because you're a Catholic doesn't make you an evil individual. Okay? Doesn't. Not at all. And we need to really help one another in our world by showing up as ourselves. Whatever it is, however we have contextualized ourselves in life, show up, own it, and say, yeah, this is who I am. But don't have any judgment about somebody else because that's defeating the whole purpose of religion to begin with, right? Thou shalt not judge. I mean, I learned that in the Catholic Church. And it's true, thou shalt not judge. Acceptance, as God said to me, acceptance is synonymous with love. So, how beautiful is that? Accept everyone. And what you don't accept, make the change because you have the power to do that. We all have some serious changes to be making in life right now. And however you're doing it, I applaud you. We have to um, talk about love and the power each one of us has as the loving being that we are. We can make things happen peacefully, methodically, and purposely. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to be afraid of what others are going to think of what I'm talking about in terms of my near-death experience, because some people still struggle with the fact that mine is so many things, too many things. She's exaggerating. She's lying. I've never heard an NDE like this. I've seen thousands of NDEs. I've read these things. And I think, wow, okay. And most of these people haven't had an NDE, by the way, which I find to be interesting. So how would you know what every NDE is going to be about? There's no way because each one is different. Somebody reached out to me the other day and shared that there was a similarity in our NDEs. And I thought, oh, that's so cool because hers was an expanded version as well. And there's so much detail in it. And she had a life review as well. And she met Jesus as well. So I love that. I love that. I just want everybody to know that each one of us gets what it is that God knows we need. So I had a mission, according to God. I'm here to come back and talk about all of this stuff, as uncomfortable as it is for me in moments, talking about things I wasn't raised with. I didn't, I don't know. All I can tell you is it's only is to be loved unconditionally. So that's the message I want to get out today. That's what I felt like talking about today because we all deserve love. Every single one of us deserves love. And it is my belief, firm belief, the problems that have arisen in our world is because there was a lack of love in those individuals' childhoods. They are coming out swinging and doing things that are very unhealthy. And they are being so judgmental towards some, deeming what a person is worthy of. And we can't get comfortable with this. This is not something to ever be comfortable with. No one deserves to be destroyed under any condition unless they're evil. And evil is not about a religion. Evil is not about a location. Evil is how an individual chooses to show up, not listening to somebody else, having their own agenda. I don't know what it means to be evil. I mean, I'm not evil, so I don't know what they're thinking, but it's definitely different than what I'm thinking. So I'm just going to keep talking about love. And I want us all to destroy evil in this world because there is a lot of it. There really, really is. And we need to correct the course for everyone. We have the responsibility. That is our job here on this planet, to show up as love and protect love at all costs. No matter what, love divides no one. No one. So until next time, may peace be upon you in everything that you do, in every part of your life, and may peace be upon our world in every single way. Let's all make it happen.